Hello, everyone, and welcome to story time. I think I should get this music going. Oh, that was abrupt. Here we are. A little more subtle. There it is. Music. After all, it is time for goosebumps. Now, I'm not turning out the lights completely because, well, quite frankly, I can't read as well when the lights are out, and all I have are these little candles. Now, granted, I do love these candles. They do a great job, but they do a better job if I simply let them flicker while the lights are on. That way, I can read. So, that being said, hello everyone, and welcome to Storytime. I'm your host, Brett Picorni. Easy enough to find me on Facebook, and you can also find the Storytime group page, Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. That is a nice flame on this. I suppose it's a little difficult to see with all the flickering and with how bright it is, but I do love flames. You're welcome, Crystal. Happy to save you from the trash you were watching. Anyway, tonight we continue with Goosebumps. Like I said, Storytime on Facebook. There's also my YouTube channel, BPicorni1, which Crystal is currently watching from. So please do like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, BPicorni1. Share it with your friends so that they may join in as well. It's 1:45, awfully late, a little earlier than, well, no, later than I was expecting. That's all right, it happens. Anyway, yes, that YouTube. And finally, Twitch. If you are on Twitch and you would like to follow me there, it's Brett Doesn't Game, all one word, no apostrophes or spaces or anything like that. But regardless, I think the best channel to watch would be YouTube. So please follow me there. At any rate, shall we get this show on the road? We're continuing with R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. Be careful what you wish for. Now, don't forget, if you leave a comment, you will get a shout-out. Like I said, if you leave a comment, you will get a shout-out. There is one final piece of news before we get started, and that is say no to peer pressure. Say no to peer pressure. That being said, shall we? I mean, we shall say no to peer pressure, but we shall also resume the story. Two chapters tonight, and Thursday we finish the book with 3 chapters, although the last chapter is only like a page, I believe. So here we are, chapter 22 of Goosebumps, Be Careful What You Wish For. The light from the living room window faded as the clouds rolled over the sun. As the light dimmed, the old woman's face darkened. Deep black ruts formed beneath her eyes. Lines creased her forehead. She seemed to sag into the shadows. "Here is my wish," I said in a trembling voice. I spoke slowly, carefully. I wanted to consider each word. I didn't want to slip up. This time. It's her last wish, if you remember right. I didn't want to give her a chance to trick me. Yes, because she is a tricky devil, isn't she? "Here is my wish," I repeated carefully. "I wish for everything to return to normal. I want everything to be exactly the way it was, but..." I hesitated. Should I finish this part of it? Yes, I told myself. I want everything to be the way it was, but I want Judith to think that I'm the greatest person who ever lived. You overdid it, Sam. You overdid it. "I will grant your 3rd wish," she said, raising the glass ball high. "Your 2nd wish will be cancelled. Time will back up to this morning. Goodbye, Samantha." "Goodbye," I said. I was swallowed up by the radiating red glow. When it faded, Clarissa had vanished. "Sam! Sam! Rise and shine!" My mother's voice floated up to my room from downstairs. I sat straight up in bed, instantly awake. "Mum!" I cried happily. I remembered everything. I remembered waking up in an empty house, in an empty world, and I remembered my third wish, but time had gone back to this morning. I glanced at the clock. 7. Mom was waking me up at the usual time. Mum! I leapt out of bed, ran downstairs in my nightshirt, and joyfully threw my arms around her, hugging her tight. Mum! Sam, are you okay? She stepped back, and a startled expression on her face. You're running a fever? Good morning, I cried happily, hugging Pumpkin, who seemed just as startled. Is Dad still home? I was so eager to see him too, to know that he was back. He left a few minutes ago, Mum said, still examining me suspiciously with her eyes. Oh, Mum, I exclaimed. I couldn't conceal my happiness. I hugged her again. Whoa, I heard Ron enter the kitchen behind us. Ah! I did not hide that yawn very well. Or at all. Hello, Rev. Good to see you. Shout out. Your way. I turned to see him staring at me, his eyes narrowed in disbelief behind his glasses. I ran over and hugged him too. Mum, what did you put in her orange juice? He demanded, struggling to get away from me. Yuck, let go of me. Mum shrugged. Don't ever ask me to explain your sister, she replied dryly. She turned to the kitchen cabinets. Go get dressed, Sam. You don't want to be late. What a beautiful morning, I exclaimed. Yeah, beautiful, Ron repeated, yawning. You must have had some terrific dreams or something, Sam. That was better. And hello to you. Welcome to the video. Is that Choi Cham Cham? I probably slaughtered that. Please feel free to correct me so I can say it correctly. But this is your shout-out. Thank you for joining. I laughed and hurried upstairs to get dressed. I couldn't wait to get to school. I couldn't wait to see my friends, to see the halls filled once again with talking, laughing faces, to say no to peer pressure. I added that to the book. I thought I could use it. Pedaling my bike as hard as I could, I grinned every time a car passed. I loved seeing people again. I waved at Mrs. Miller across the street, bending to pick up her morning newspaper. I didn't even mind it when the Carter's terrier came chasing after my bike, barking his high-pitched yips and nipping at my ankles. I'm so energetic. Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment. Good dog, I cried gleefully. Everything is normal, I told myself. Everything is wonderfully normal. I opened the front door to the school to the sound of crashing locker doors and shouting kids. Great, I cried aloud. A sixth grader came tearing around the corner and bumped right into me. Right into her, practically knocking me over as I made my way to my locker. I didn't cry out angrily. I just smiled. I was so happy to be back in school, back in my crowded, noisy school. Unable to stop grinning, I unlocked my locker and pulled open the door. I called out a cheerful greeting to some friends across the hall. I even said good morning to Mrs. Reynolds, our principal. Hey, Stork, a 7th grade boy called to me. He made a funny face and disappeared around the corner. I didn't care. I didn't care what anyone called me. That sound of so many voices was so wonderful. As I started to take my coat off, I saw Judith and Anna arrive. They were, eyelash. They were, hang on. They were saying no to peer pressure. They were busy chatting, both talking at once, but Judith stopped when she saw me. Hi, Judith, I called warily. I wondered what Judith would be like now. Would she treat me any differently? Would she be nicer to me? Would she remember how much she and I used to hate each other? Would she be any different at all? Judith gave Anna a little wave and came hurrying over to me. Morning, Sam, she said and smiled. Then she pulled off her wool ski cap, and I gasped. And what's that, Crystal Burns? Oh my. Is that in regard to what's happening in the story, or in regard to the peer pressure? Guess we'll find out. Another response like that. Oh my. Let us move on to chapter 23. Judith, your hair! I cried in astonishment. Do you like it? She asked, staring at me eagerly. She had cut it shorter like mine and had tied a ponytail on the side, just like mine. She doesn't have a side ponytail here. Oh, it's shocking, is it? Is it? Is it? I guess, I stammered. She breathed a sigh of relief and smiled at me fully. It looks just like yours, doesn't it? Or did I cut it too short? Do you think it should be longer? She studied my hair. I think yours might be longer. No, it's great, Judith, I told her, backing toward my locker. Of course, it's not as good as yours, Judith continued, staring at my ponytail. My hair just isn't as pretty as yours. It isn't as fine, and the color is too dark. I don't believe this, I thought. It looks good, I said softly. I pulled my coat off and hung it in my locker. Wait, why do you say that? No. Then I bent to pick up my backpack. Let me carry that, Judith insisted. She grabbed it out of my hands. Really, I don't mind, Sam. I started to protest, but Anna interrupted. What are you doing? She asked Judith, flashing me a cold glance. Let's get to class. You go without me, Judith replied. I want to carry Sam's backpack for her. Huh? Anna's mouth dropped open. Are you totally losing it, Judith? She demanded. Judith ignored her question and turned back to me. I love that t-shirt, Sam. It's ribbed, isn't it? Did you get it at the Gap? That's where I got mine. Look, I'm wearing one just like yours. I goggled in surprise. Sure enough, Judith was wearing the same style t-shirt, only hers was grey and mine was pale blue. Judith, what's your problem? Anna asked, applying a 20th layer of bright orange lipstick on her lips. And what did you do to your hair? She cried, suddenly noticing the new style. Wait, she was talking to Anna before and she didn't notice the hairstyle before? Really? I doubt that. Doesn't it look just like Sam's? Judith asked her, flipping the ponytail with one hand. Anna rolled her eyes. Judith, have you gone psycho or something? Give me a break, Anna, Judith replied. I'd like to talk to Sam, okay? Huh? Anna knocked on Judith's head, as if knocking on a door. Anyone home? If so, how would you like to say no to peer pressure? See you later, okay? Judith said impatiently. Anna sighed, then walked away angrily. Judith turned back to me. Can I ask you a favor? Yeah, sure, I replied. What kind of favor? She hoisted my backpack over her left shoulder. Her own backpack hung on her right shoulder. Would you help me work on my foul shot at practice this afternoon? I wasn't sure I had heard Judith correctly. I stared at her, my mouth hanging open. Would you? She pleaded. I really like to try shooting foul shots your way. You know, underhanded. I bet I'd have a lot more control shooting them underhanded the way you do. This was too much. As I stared at Judith, I saw absolute worship in her eyes. She was the best foul shooter on the team, and here she was, begging me to show her how to shoot the klutzy way I did. You overdid it, Sam. You overdid it. Yeah, okay, I'll try to help you, I told her. Oh, thank you, Sam, she cried gratefully. You're such a pal, and do you think I could borrow your social studies notes later? Mine are such a mess. Well, I said thoughtfully, my notes were so bad even I couldn't make them out. I'll copy them over and get them right back to you. Promise, Judith said breathlessly. I think the weight of 2 backpacks was starting to her. Okay, you can borrow them, I told her. We started walking to class. Several kids stopped to stare at Judith. lugging 2 backpacks on her shoulders. "Where did you get your Doc Martens?" she asked as we entered the room. "I want to get a pair just like yours." What a laugh, I thought, very pleased with myself. This is an absolute riot. The change in Judith was simply hilarious. It was all I could do not to burst out laughing. Little did I know then that my laughter would quickly turn to horror. And that is the end of chapter 23. Well, dear listeners, /viewers, /readers, /fans, whatever you want me to call it, bumps of the goose variety. That has been Goosebumps, and this has been Storytime. I sure hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't, you can find me on Facebook, easy enough, Brett Picorni, and please do find the Storytime Facebook group. It's just called Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. You can follow me on Twitch as well, Brett Doesn't Game, all one word. And finally, YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, you should tube. Beepercorny1, that's my channel. Like this video, hit subscribe, share it so your friends can do the same. At any rate, I've had a blast with you, but I'm afraid it is time for bed. So, I'll see you tomorrow night on Poetry Time. Story time on Wednesdays when we read poetry. See you then. Good night, everyone. I bid you adieu. Oh, blast. That time when I blew out the candle didn't make everything so dark that it seemed like a cool ending. Oh,